Thanks so much for tuning into the McAllen Cable Network. I'm your host, Roxanne Lerma, and today, a very special guest in our studio, our very own City Manager, Roel Rodriguez. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, exciting time for us here in McAllen. We actually approved our new budget. We're going into that. So, tell us a little bit about that, Roy.
Well, I've been lucky enough to be putting budgets together for many, many years.
Many.
And this year, I was very proud to be a part of putting the budget of the City of McAllen together. And as you know, the City of McAllen is a leader in the Rio Grande Valley. We're the biggest municipal employer in the Rio Grande Valley, and obviously have the biggest budget municipal-wise here in the region. So it's always a challenge to do so, especially now that we're finally recovering from that huge recession that we experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a great experience to work with the City Commission so closely, and we've got a great budget. We've got a real nice document, and what I tell people is that a budget is not a book full of numbers. A budget is a vision. That's what a budget should be to any entity.
I like that, a budget is a vision.
Yes,
That's a good way of looking at it.
You should be able to open up a budget document and see what the vision of a community is. And I think that our budget does that.
We are in the black, and obviously that's a great thing for our community here.
It is. McAllen has been blessed through many years of incredible growth. And it's going to be back. There's no doubt. Maybe not at the same levels as we saw back then, but it's going to be back.
Mm-hmm.
This year, we had a very, very small increase in growth. In fact, on the ad valorem side, on the tax side of rooftops and commercial establishments and so on, we only had a 1.5% increase in valuation. That is very, very small for our experience. And on the sales tax side, we projected a 0.5% increase, which is very small.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to be able to put a budget together that included increasing employees in several departments that we felt we needed, with that kind of increase, I think it says a lot about our staff and our ability to put a document and a vision together that is very prudent and responsible for our community.
There's kind of an amount that cities look at that they say, you know what, we're in a good area in our budget because we have this much excess. So what is it for us here in the City of McAllen?
Well, the most important part is that we have a balanced budget, that
Mm-hmm.
we have more estimated revenues than expenditures. Every community sees that differently. Where we're very, very careful about is what our fund balances are moving forward. Bond covenants, usually when cities have bond issues in the past, those bond issues and bond covenants require you to have, for the most part, somewhere between 90 and 120 days of working capital.
Mm-hmm.
We have 148. When you put into account that our budget is so big, that's over $40 million of a fund balance for our general fund. That is so healthy. And again, it has to do with the culture of this community, because that's what we've seen for decades.
Mm-hmm.
It has very little to do with the people that are working here today, and it has a lot to do with the culture of our community, that we're very, very responsible and very prudent about our future funds.
You mentioned bonds. What are some of the bond projects that we're looking at, going into 2015?
Well, Roxanne, it had been over 20 years since we had a bond issue here in McAllen.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it has to do with how blessed we have been with revenues, that we've done a lot of what we call pay-as-you-go. And basically that means that we make capital improvements with funds that are available.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those funds have decreased through the years. And so prior management and the administration, the City Commission, felt that we had gotten to the point that we needed a bond issue in order to make the improvements that we're in need of today. And so we put that in front of the citizens of McAllen in 2013, and the citizens agreed. We told them, this is what we think it's going to cost on a capital basis, and this is what we think is going to cost you, on a tax rate. And all three propositions passed. So I'm real happy, and I'm really proud of our community that they acknowledged that these needs are here and that they're willing to pay for it. So having said that, we had three propositions.
Super exciting things coming.
Yeah, yeah. One is a performing arts center,
Right.
which is a big, big deal. I mean, no other community in this region does these kinds of projects. The Performing Arts Center, which was a little above, our budget, nevertheless is a $45 million facility.
Mm-hmm.
When that facility is completed, people are going to understand why that price tag is what it is, because it's going to be something they've never seen before. Some of us are lucky enough to have experienced Broadway and those kinds of things, whether it's in New York or Chicago or Houston or whatever. When they see this facility, they're going to be amazed, because it's going to make those others pale in comparison. This is a state-of-the-art facility that's going to draw people to our community from all over the region and beyond, because we've already got interest from those folks from Broadway saying, we want to talk to you, we want to talk to you soon about when we can start negotiating about coming here. So it's going to be a very, very exciting time for us. And so that proposition was one. The other two were parks and recreation facilities, and the third were street improvements.
Mm-hmm.
So on the parks and recreation facilities, that basically continues to tell the story about our community, in that our city commission is so committed to the quality of life here. And quality of life in McAllen, there's no other community that can say that they do what we do. And it isn't about bringing revenue, because most of the time quality of life venues don't do that. It has to do with our commitment to ensure that our citizens have those venues, those facilities, those programs that make our lives better. And that's what we're going to do. We've got new soccer complexes. We've got baseball complexes, both for boys and girls. We think that they're going to be able to entertain competition venues. And while that's important to us to bring in people that we might not have today, it's a combination of that and ensuring that we provide facilities for our community. So that's very exciting.
Super exciting.
And then the third one is streets. And streets is kind of the no-namer. I mean, we know.
It's a no-neighbor, but everybody wants to know about it.
Exactly. It's things that we need.
Yeah.
We see congestion continue to increase in McAllen.
Mm-hmm.
And even before this bond issue, we've made improvements to intersections, to signalization, to the things that we can with the funds available to increase our mobility. And I think that this bond issue, excuse me, continues to do that in big projects like Bicentennial, and then in small projects like the ones we're already working on intersections that allow us to move traffic through there quickly. So it's exciting stuff, and our job is to ensure that we do it, in a very short time frame. So we're hoping that in about a 2-year time frame, 2 or 3, we're going to finish all those projects.
We talked about the Performing Arts Center and how it has that, big city feel. If you've actually looked online, we have the virtual tour up, and wow, I mean, it's amazing. You see the theater. There's nothing like it here in the Valley. So speaking of that, what happens to our Civic Center?
Well, that's exciting too. The Civic Center has been part of the landscape here in McAllen for so long. I remember being a kid and living in another city here in the Rio Grande Valley and hearing of events in that facility.
The Nutcracker,
Yeah.
go to the Civic Center.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's been a part of the culture here in the city of McAllen. But with the Convention Center opening a few years back and the Performing Arts Center now coming online, we had a big decision to make. And the City Commission has been discussing this for years now, because it is a big decision. And we're to the point that we're very close, probably as soon as the next couple of weeks,
Wow.
on making an announcement on what we're going to do there. We're going to sell the property. That's no longer a mystery.
Right.
So the question is, who are we going to sell the property to, and what are we going to do with the property? And so what we've done is that we've requested proposals from companies that does a lot of things. Not only does it convey the property to a new owner, but it gives us a little bit of say as to what goes in there. And so we're going to have exciting news about what's going to go into that corner. We call it the corner of Main and Main, and in fact, that that actually came from developers. That's the way they see that corner. They
The
see
corner
it,
of Main and Main.
yeah, they see it like the best corner in the Rio Grande Valley. So we're so excited about that pending announcement.
Excellent. Okay, so we might have to unveil that here at MCN. Okay, another exciting project coming up, and we've been hearing a lot of headlines about it. That's our annexation. So where are we at with that?
Well, annexation always has to be strategic. For every person that is for annexation, you're going to find one that isn't. And so it's a tough balance by the city commission to make those tough decisions. Here's the theory behind annexation. When you've got communities that are just outside of your city limits, we know that they work here. We know that they play here. We know that they shop here. And so they're already taking advantage of our infrastructure. And so it makes sense to annex those communities that are just outside of your city because they should pay what everybody else in McAllen pays when it comes to ad valorem taxes. That's the theory behind it. In the case of the one that we're looking at now, it's actually the developer asking us to annex them. And it's a huge swath of land.
This is a huge development, though,
Yeah,
that's coming.
it's almost 2,600 acres, and the developer is asking us to consider annexation, and we started the process, and it's a development that is a planned community that is going to take years and years to develop, but it's something that we're very excited about. It's basically along Ware Road to the west of Ware and south of Monte Cristo,
Okay.
and it's a swath that goes to the west. So we're excited about that. The city commission is entertaining a TERS, which I don't want to get into a lot of details of what that means, but basically it's a tax increment reinvestment zone is what TERS means. And it's a special kind of financing that goes into that type of development that we're still working through. But it's an annexation that we're excited about.
Yes, we are excited about it. Okay, lastly, tell us about the cameras coming to the city of McAllen and how it's going to affect folks.
For several years, the city of McAllen has had cameras in a strategic location in McAllen. We started with what we call the core of our city, the downtown, basically along Bicentennial to 10th Street, Expressway North to about Nolana. And it's been very, very effective. It's something that our chief of police is very happy with, very proud of, because what it does, it allows the police department to use them as a very important tool. We don't monitor the cameras. That's not what the cameras are for. But what it has done through the years is that when we have an incident, when we have some kind of crime in the downtown area, we are able to go back to those cameras because we keep that data, anywhere from 7 to 10 days. And if they have an idea, obviously, of where the crime happened, they go to those cameras and they're able to identify suspects. And they have been able to solve so many crimes in the area with those cameras. So the police chief has always wanted to expand that system, and so have we. It always comes down to the bottom line.
Right.
And this year we were able to go to the city commission, have a proposal where between the police department and the general fund, we're going to be able to expand the camera system, expand the maintenance of the camera system, which we really don't have right now, and really expand the whole system in order for us to be able to continue to do what we're doing today in an expanded manner. So we're excited. We're probably the only city in the valley, in the region, that has that kind of system. And the truth of the matter is that we think that this is going to be an ongoing expansion. Someday, after we're all gone, we'd like for that to be covered in the entire city. And so we've got to take one step at a time, and I think this is a great step towards that.
And again, it's not to catch folks if you're speeding through a red light or something. I mean, this is something really important behind it. If there's a car theft, if we have a burglary or something, carjacking, they can go back to this video and look at it.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that, because the cameras are not those cameras that everybody talks about red lights.
Right.
They don't do that. That's not what it's about. It's exactly what you just said.
Okay. All right. So a lot of exciting things coming to our city in the next 12 months.
Yes, we've got a $100 million plus general fund. We have almost a $300 million total budget for the city of McAllen. It's a very exciting time. It's a challenging time, but it makes our jobs a lot of fun because it forces us to be creative and innovative. And you know, they don't call me the new city manager anymore. I'm glad because it's been a bit. It's been an interesting 6 months. But we do anticipate engaging the city commission with new ideas. And that's our job, is to ensure that we look at alternatives on how we do things. And I am looking forward to that. You know, I am looking forward to engaging these issues and talking to the city commission about different ideas. And this coming year will be kind of my year to ensure that we do that. And we will. Our job is very, very simple. It's to provide, you know, the best services and facilities that we can for our citizens. We're committed to doing that, and the best is yet to come.
Excellent. That's a great way to wrap it up. City Manager Roel Rodriguez, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for giving us our little city update.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for tuning into the McAllen Cable Network for the City of McAllen. I'm Roxanne Lerma.